Welcome to The Hypnotist, brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues.
Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in, imagine that you're breathing in a feeling of calm and tranquility. Breathing in that good feeling, allowing that good feeling to go to every cell in your body. And as you breathe out, anything that is not necessary for you, allow to leave. Perhaps that could be stress, tension, anxiety or worry. Breathe in everything that is good, and get the feeling that as you breathe out, things that are unnecessary are just leaving your body now. That's it, breathing in and breathing out. And just become aware of exactly where you are right now. The feeling of your skin, perhaps on the clothes, perhaps your body's position in relation to wherever you're sitting or lying. Really get a sense of, as you breathe in, the feeling that happens in your chest as the breath goes in, and perhaps even the sensation of just the air leaving your body, perhaps through your nostrils or your mouth. Breathing in this feeling of calm and tranquility, and just feeling that you're going deeper and deeper into a pleasant state. As you breathe in, allow your imagination to do what your imagination does best, which is simply to play. And I want you to imagine that in your mind's eye, you have the ability to travel wherever you want. And let's say that within your imagination, you can teleport absolutely anywhere. And right now, just imagine what it would be like to be somewhere entirely different, perhaps an entirely different country. And I want you to imagine that right now you're teleporting all the way to Finland, one of those Scandinavian countries in Northern Europe, and imagine that you're there in just absolutely picturesque countryside, and allow that to happen now. Perhaps you're in a forest or near a lake, and I want you to get a sense that you are in picturesque countryside and nature. It's blue skies and sunny weather. You feel warm in this place. You feel safe in this place. And I want your imagination to simply fill in the gaps, as you do whenever you dream. Because when you dream, your brain simply fills in whatever needs to be there. And you don't question if everything is there and the details are perfect. You just get a sense that whatever you're dreaming about feels real at the time. And right now, just allow your unconscious mind to imagine what it would be like if you were in Finland, in the Finnish nature and countryside. And perhaps you can imagine what it would be like to feel a breeze on your skin. Or perhaps the smell of that clean air. Perhaps there are sounds, maybe even the sounds of animals like birds. And just imagine being in this natural, beautiful surroundings. Pay attention to the colors on the trees, a particular shade of green perhaps, or the flowers. As you walk around this picturesque countryside, I want you to get a feeling of being very, very far away. And perhaps in the distance you can imagine seeing a large hill or even a mountain. And you get it into your head that you would like to climb this hill or this mountain. And I want you to notice that as you walk towards that mountain, slowly but surely, you notice that it's just easy to feel that you're very, very far away. And I want you to notice that as you get closer to the mountain, the terrain is changing. It's going from green, vibrant colors to something a bit more rocky and mountainous. And I want you to entertain a thought of what it would be like to deal with challenges and adversity. Because mainly people have two distinct ways of dealing with challenges and adversity. And the number one strategy that people tend to follow when there are tough things is avoidance. They try and get away from whatever that thing is. And adversity comes in all shapes and sizes. Adversity could be a challenge in a relationship or where you work. It could be an obstacle that prevents a goal. Or it could be life conditions that suddenly change that mean that there are more demands on you and less resources in order to cope. And as you walk towards this mountain, I want you to get an idea that the mountain itself represents adversity. That it would be very easy simply to decide not to climb the mountain. But I want you to get a sense that by climbing the mountain gives you the ability to become stronger in some way. And I want you to do that now. Imagine what it would be like to initially just walk up the mountain, because the gradient is easy enough to just walk up that mountain. And as you do that, you notice that it's not particularly challenging, that your resources and your ability meets the gradient of the mountain, so it doesn't really require too much from you. But I want you to get a sense that the more you climb up the mountain, the more that the conditions of the mountain change against you. Perhaps it's that it becomes steeper. Maybe the weather conditions become more perilous. I want you to get a sense that the more you climb up the mountain, the more challenging it becomes. And I want you to get a sense that it reaches a point where it becomes very, very hard, very extreme, in order for you to keep climbing that mountain. I want you to get a sense that at all times you have a choice. You have the choice to continue to climb the mountain, or you also have the choice to decide to go back down the mountain. And the easiest thing to do would be to walk away from the challenge and to avoid adversity. But actually, you notice that there is something within you that wants to persist, that wants to keep climbing that mountain, even though the easiest thing to do would be to simply walk back down. I want you to get a sense that the more challenging it becomes, the more this resource within you feels like it's growing. And you don't even know what this resource is called, because at some level you could call it determination. You could call it the courage to face the fears and the unknown variables that are up that mountain. You could say that there's a feeling of resoluteness, a stubbornness, if you will, to keep persisting when something gets hard. And notice that this resource prompts action. It's simply not the case that you're willing yourself or just knowing that you're able or willing to climb the mountain. It's that because this resource is there, you are continuing to find ways to climb that mountain. That each and every time that you get further up, new limitations and reduced odds are there in front of you. But I want you to get a sense that as you become increasingly aware of that resource, that you notice that the barriers, the obstacles, almost become opportunities. That you want them to be barriers there. You want there to be limitations so that you can enjoy the satisfaction of one by one taking action against those odds and transforming where each bends to a new frontier, enabling you to feel more courageous, more determined, and more resolute with each and every step. I want you to notice that as you're climbing the mountain, a wise old man seems to be coming down the mountain. This is someone that has already reached the peak of the mountain and is on their way back down. I want you to notice that somewhere on the mountain is a clearing, and that clearing enables you to just take a bit of a break and connect with this wise old man that has already reached the peak of the mountain. I want you to notice where that feeling of determination, courage, and resoluteness is within your body. And I want you to notice that this wise old man clearly has the resource that you're growing and building within you, because the journey that you're on, this wise old man has already completed and is now going down the mountain. It occurs to you that if this man had already reached the peak, therefore it must be possible. And if it was possible for him, it must be possible for you also. You notice that this old wise Finnish man has something in a bag and wants to give you this thing. But before he does, this wise old man explains that this is something unique to Finland. This isn't something, he explains, that you can find just anywhere in the world. He explains that this is something that only the Finnish have discovered. Something unique as an attribute, a quality, a characteristic. And this wise old man explains that the only way that you can explain this is to experience this. And he calls it something called Sisu. Something that is beyond determination, beyond courage, beyond discipline. Something that you can only experience over a prolonged period of time. Because someone could experience courage simply by doing something in the moment that requires that courage. Being determined may only last a few minutes or a few hours. But this quality of Sisu, this is something that is more of a quality or characteristic that is linked to a particular person. That although it's something that exists in some people, it doesn't exist in all people. But it's a quality that can only be developed and that grows when you experience adversity and treat the adversity as an opportunity to expand that quality. He takes this resource out of the bag, and I want you to perceive it as a glowing source of energy. He hands it to you, and I want you to locate where you feel that determination, courage, or feeling of absolute determination within you. And as you take that glowing ball of energy, I want you to move it from your hands and place it wherever it is that you feel determination within you. And as you do that, notice that that feeling inside you immediately starts to grow. And as it starts to grow, I want you to get an overall sense, a belief if you like, perhaps even the early stages of a conviction, that this is giving you incredible amounts of mental toughness. Something that is like resilience but even stronger. Something that makes you want to expand your limitations, to become stronger and more determined, and to, weirdly, seek out challenges and adversity to enable this quality to grow within you. And as it does so, I want you right now to think of the biggest forms of challenges or adversity that you've ever faced in your life so far. And I want you, almost with the benefit of hindsight, to imagine how you could have handled those situations with this feeling of absolute determination, resilience, and absolute fearlessness in the face of adversity. And as you do so, notice that the challenge or adversity was exactly as it was back then, but what's different is the resources and resourcefulness within you Suddenly that challenge doesn't feel so challenging. And perhaps if it was a challenge that you couldn't overcome back then, perhaps there is a belief or feeling that you could overcome that challenge now. And with that belief, with that conviction, I want you to get a sense that you now are not afraid of adversity. You are not afraid of obstacles or challenges. With this glowing feeling of Sisu within you, you have almost a twisted desire to seek out adversity and challenges, knowing that as you do so, it makes you uncommon among uncommon people, that it puts you in the top 1%, because most people will avoid adversity. They will run away from a challenge, but with this quality growing inside you, you actively seek them out. I want you to say goodbye to this wise old Finnish man that's just given you the Sisu, and notice that the Sisu that he has given you diminish the quality that he has within himself. That it's something that once you have this, you can inspire and pass this quality on to the people around you. But it's only something that you can give to other people when you have it in abundance within yourself. You say goodbye perhaps with a handshake or hug to this wise old Finnish man that is on the way back down towards the bottom of the mountain. And now you feel it within you. And I want you to notice that even though the mountain is even more perilous, even more challenging than it was before, because of this resource of Sisu within you, you feel more well-equipped. You feel more of a desire, more of a determination to reach the peak of this mountain. And so you begin. And notice that the coldness of the weather, perhaps the harshness of the terrain, whereas before you would seem as a struggle, now feels like it's a opportunity for you to become stronger, for you to become better, for you to expand your comfort zone into brand new levels. And persist you do, persisting in such a way that you do go through this challenging part of the mountain and you reach the peak. And at the point where you reach the peak, you witness the most stunning views that you've ever seen in your life. But what's more important than the scenery is the feeling that you experience. The satisfaction that only comes from expanding your horizons, from forging new frontiers about what's possible for you, a sense of accomplishment, of satisfaction, of pride, true happiness, some would say. But that feeling came from accessing this feeling of Sisu to enable you to perceive challenges in brand new ways. You are now seeking out adversity and challenges, not as some weird sense of causing harm to yourself, but as an opportunity to grow, to become stronger, to become better, and to increase this feeling of being resourceful and being able to handle challenges. And I want you to notice that now it's time to go back down the mountain. And as you go down the mountain, notice that on your way down, you can see someone struggling to come up. And you notice that glowing feeling deep within you. And you notice that you can take some of that glowing feeling from you, putting it into a bag, and it doesn't diminish the glowing feeling within you. And I want you to imagine that you are now able to give this quality, this characteristic, to others without diminishing your own. In the same way that the wise old Finnish man was able to give you a sense of this quality, you are now able to give it to others. And then continue back down the mountain, noticing that as the weather improves and as the terrain gets easier, there is still an innate belief, an idea that this quality of Sisu exists within you. So you are now not afraid to set big goals or afraid of challenges or adversity, because you know that you have the resources to face that adversity, and that any adversity that you can't face will simply enable this quality to grow even more. because with every challenge is the opportunity to learn or to grow. And with that knowledge that you have this incredible resource within you from this point onwards, you are now no longer afraid to take on big challenges, big goals. In fact, you will actively seek them out. I want you to imagine that you now realize that this was just an imaginary exercise, a dream, if you will, inside your own imagination. And yet that feeling of Sisu exists not just in your mind, but actually inside your body. And that you now have the ability to take on big challenges within your real life. And I want you to decide right now one specific thing that you will now do outside of your comfort zone, something that before you would deem to be too challenging, because the only way that this quality stays and then grows is by seeking adversity out. Decide right now, not just what you will do, but when you will do it, knowing that you have all the resources necessary to find a way to persist and be resolute in the face of extreme adversity. In a few moments' time, I'm going to count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You awaken not just with a feeling of optimism and fantastic well-being, but with a sense that this quality of Sisu exists within you, and that you want this feeling to grow and become stronger and stronger. You will awaken with the desire to not just seek out adversity and challenge, but to accomplish these things to enable that quality to become a key part of your characteristics. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.